Raw 5/12/25. Your amplified review begins now. Unit Salo. Before we start this review, a shout out, support, strength, amplification, all the best over to Jason Tatum from the Boston Celtics. Nobody wants to see that happen, especially at the end of the game. With the game that he was having, I do believe my Knicks were going to win that game anyway. We had all the momentum, the Garden was rocking, but Tatum, that was their saving grace, man. 42 points at the time. He was draining threes like BC Downs coffees. So, while yes, as a Knicks fan, we're supposed to say, hey, by any means, get off the court. You never want to see it go down like that. You want it to be straight competition. It does look like he's done for the series. Even worse so, though. And congrats to my Knicks, man. We went out and earned that, though, with or without that injury to Tatum. That was a gutsy performance. 3-1. My Knicks are one game away from going to those conference finals, man. That's wild. And to Oswaldo Cabrera, man. What a gruesome injury. That was rough. We do believe he snapped his ankle in half and dislocated it. That was also at the end of the game, sliding into home. Just trying to score, doing anything imaginable, trying to work his way around the catcher. Looks like his cleat got stuck in, and that one's rough. He's going to be out for the year. Thankfully, DJ LeMahieu was already on his way back. He just happens to play third. So you could fit LeMahieu at first and third. Oswaldo could play any position, basically. So very clutch utility guy for us. So that's why that's going to hurt even more. But all the best to Oswaldo Cabrera. That was rough. And any Yankee fan knows whether he puts up stats like Aaron Judge or not, the heartbeat that he was in that locker room is irreplaceable. So the Jason Tatum, even as a Knicks fan, all the best, man. Speedy recovery. And Oswaldo Cabrera, man, we are supporting you, behind you every single day. Trust that. Get back soon, man. Raw 5/12/25. There's no reason to waste 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes out of your day to go over an actual cold open teaser. So I thought that open is the best way to go about business. Brew my cup of coffee, save myself the words, spend that time giving a shout out to Tatum and to Cabrera. Because this show ain't worth talking about, A, but B, there's nothing to tease you with. It's called the cold open teasing monologue. There's nothing to tease you with. Nothing on this show would make you tune in next week. A lot of us will, out of habit and hope. Habit, we've been doing it since we were a kid, tuning in every Monday to this wrestling show. And hoping one day it actually gets better. That's why we tune in these days. Habit and hope. I've been saying that for years under Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and even more so now under Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Triple H, Paul Levesque McMahon. Nothing happened last night. I know it's like a broken record when we say that. But last night, they made it so obvious. We saw this on Friday, where it just seemed like they pumped a bunch of matches out and thought, that's it. We don't have to spend 1 iota, 1 ounce of care into this show. Put any energy, put any effort. That's your SmackDown. And it felt that way. And then on Raw, they said, hold my coffee, let's double down. So they pre-announced like 4 or 5 matches in advance. And your side segments was CM Punk speaks and Jey Uso appears, as if he's straight out of a Harry Potter movie. Jey Uso appears. Is he Bray Wyatt? Is he The Undertaker? What do you mean he appears? Can you make the Wyatts appear? They're lost with Veer in the woods. They veered off in the wrong direction, but don't bring them back if you don't have anything planned, because in just 4 weeks' time, they'll be getting rolled up by Grayson Waller or Tozawa. This is one of those shows that it's actually good, though, because it's so damn bad right now that you need a show like this to open everybody's eyes. And this is one of those shows where even the hardcore WWE shill, the ones that literally will be there with the wooden bowl and wooden spoon waiting for seconds from Hunter Hearst Helmsley's creative pool, no matter what WWE does, they praise it. They can't say a bad thing about it. No, that's going against everything they believe. But even they come off of a show last night and they can't help but be honest. This one was boring. All right, this one didn't hit. All right, this one felt kind of lifeless. You start to hear these little so you're saying it needs more attention, more care, more effort put into it. But there's mental gymnastics, right? They start telling themselves, no, it's boring, but it's not bad. It's lifeless, but it's not bad. It lacks energy. It lacks anything that's actually entertaining so that the crowd can actually care and cheer or boo or make noise throughout an entire match. It lacks the reasoning for the live crowd to give you that energy. But it's not bad. Mental gymnastics, right? It lacks all of this. It sucked, but it's not bad. Not a bad show. I just want to put that out there. It's not bad. It just sucks. Mental gymnastics, but no matter how many mental gymnastics you try to place on this show last night, we all know the truth. This show sucked. We all know the truth. Nothing, no creativity, no care, no effort, nobody gave a shit about this show last night, and nothing went into it. That much we know. Because if you did not catch the show, and I know a lot of you guys just come to the channel, you listen to BC's review, and you say, thank you for saving me 2 or 3 hours, BC. I trust that if you say it was good, I'm going back and watching. And if you rip it apart, I know you saved me the hours. Here's a cup of coffee, BC. Thank you. I appreciate you. Don't need the coffee. Accept it. Absolutely. Appreciate it. But all I need, totally free of charge. Smash that up, and I know you're amplified. Appreciate you. Big time. I mean that. Thank you for making BC your one-stop shop for all things pro wrestling. Because you certainly don't need anybody else, because they're just there to feed you more Hunter Hearst Helmsley bullshit stew. Mental gymnastics. No matter how many mental gymnastics you do, it will not get away from the fact that this show sucked, last week sucked, Mania season sucked, Mania sucked, Backlash sucked. All of this sucks. All of this sucks. And if you don't watch the show and you're going, BC, could this one have been even worse? Was it that? Were they flaunting that they don't care that much in everybody's face last night? Were they totally taking a shit on their shill fans? Absolutely. Check it out. What would Penta Gable? They had a wrestling match. Nothing happened. Rematch. Gable's looking up at the lights again. Same old, same old. BC, there must have been a story attached to it, right? Something must have developed. Nope. Penta celebrated to the hard cam, and Chad Gable's like, That's that. How about the Boar Raiders versus the Creed Brothers? Well, BC, okay, that's a match, but something must have huge happened, right? A storyline was attached to it, something, BC. No. The New Day was on commentary trying to keep everybody at home watching awake, but they had to double because they had to try to get the live crowd to care. And this is where fans are going to blame the crowd. The crowd was so dead, so the show sucked. No, the show sucked, so the crowd was dead. That's how that works. The crowd showed up to yeet and sing along with Seth and do what? Yeah, that's right, even as a heel. We'll get to that. The crowd came to do all of that, and they did. You put together 12, 18, 86 matches that nobody gives a shit about just for wrestling action. Don't blame the crowd for being bored. How many times can you see the same matchups and the same sequences? And then afterwards, Hunter Helmsley and The Rock are exposing the business and telling you how fake it is. So hey, go watch some more wrestling action with no storylines attached and no larger-than-life characters. Put the Boar Raiders and the Creed brothers, 4 dudes with the personality of a tangerine. That's an insult to a tangerine. Where's the personality and the charisma coming from, huh? Julius? Bobsled? What the hell's the other guy's name? I don't even know. Julius and Johnston, we'll call him, with a T. I miss Jim Johnston, by the way, the dude that used to do the music. Anyway, BC's off the hook right now. The Creed brothers, are they giving you the personality, the charisma? Is it the Boar Raiders? Ivar and Yvonne? Or whatever the fuck. He's a Ghostbuster. You get the point. Whatever the other guy's name is. I don't even know. I don't know. I don't care. Is that supposed to electrify everybody that's watching on you got the Yankees coming up. You got the Knicks playoff game on. New York anyway. New York sports, man. We got all this stuff going on, and you got a Boar Raiders versus a Creed brothers matchup. Awesome. And no, nothing happened, right? If you're telling me there's an awesome story, man, okay, have at it. It's a wrestling show, 2.5 hours. You're going to have wrestling matches. Okay, of course. Let's go. But that's secondary to the perp. There has to be meaning to all of this. That's what we all fell in love with wrestling for. There was always a meaning to it. What? Styles versus Finn Balor for the 95th time? Well, BC, there must have been a story. Nothing. Carlito's getting his ass whooped. McDonald's is out there getting his ass whooped. I think Penta came out at the end and beat them up. And then Styles picks up. I don't even, nothing. There's no reason to watch Balor and AJ Styles at 10 p.m. on your fucking Monday night primetime. 2025, you wouldn't know what year it is because we're just recycling the most oddest of shit. The main event, Io and Rhea versus Rok-C and Giulia. But the fans weren't that into it. What do you want them to be? Man, I'm a huge supporter of 3 out of these 4 ladies. You know that. You know the support I have for Rok-C. That's why I still call her Rok-C. And Giulia. How long have I praised Giulia before she even got to the States? And how much I praise Io Sky. Forget about it. She'll always be Io Shirai to me. And Rhea, she's a wrestler. But 3 out of these 4 ladies, man, I'm huge on. This is not where you place them. Nobody can lose this. Io's your champion. She can't be losing this. And you sure as hell can't have Rok-C and Giulia show up and lose this match. Rok-C does nothing but lose these days. And Giulia is so good, and it feels like all she's doing is being so... Not just eating L's. She's so irrelevant feeling. But BC, she was in a main event of Raw. To look up at the lights. And she literally was the one looking up at the lights after a riptide. She was just she was a stepping stone to have Rhea stare at Io for that title. Because that's what Hunter really wants. He wants to get that IC title that Valkyria has over to Becky. And they prolonged it. This was probably Becky's decision at Backlash because she knew the backlash that she would receive even more so. So they prolonged it. And they prolonged Rhea because they really wanted Rhea getting that back at Mania. But they knew there was a lot of backlash on Rhea. A lot of people felt she shouldn't have even been in that match because she just cried her way into it like Daniel Bryan did with that Mania match with Edge and Roman. And Daniel Bryan to this day says, I didn't belong there. I shouldn't have been. You know who the one person in the community that was screaming that from the mountaintop? That was BC. Everybody else, Daniel Bryan needs to be in this match. BC was like, no, he doesn't. It's not going to work. It's not going to fit. Daniel Bryan doesn't even want it. But he cried every week because that's what the fans were crying about. Sure enough, he got put in the match, and Roman just stacked up him and Edge, and everybody was like, probably would have been better with Edge and Roman. So Rhea does that. She cries herself into this match every single week, and they knew they could not put that title on Rhea Ripley at Mania. So they're just prolonging this. And if you needed any more evidence, last night, that whole tag match, that was just to get to that last visual. Io holding up her title, smiling at Rhea, we did it. And Rhea's like, all right, but I want that title soon. And Io's like, my title? and we fade to black. Well, not yet. First of all, Hunter Hearst Helmsley's Paul Levesque McMahon credit needs to pop up so you know who produced this garbage. And then we went to black, and the show went off the air. Giulia was nothing more than a stepping stone, so we can do mental gymnastics and go, that was her first Raw main event. What a moment for Rok-C and Giulia. You keep putting them in positions like that, they can have 12 main events in the next 4 months, and they'll be in the next round of releases knowing this company. You want to hear wild? Becky Lynch was actually the best part of the... I can't believe I'm saying that, but what she said rang so true, not just for pro wrestling, but for the grander scheme at large, society in totality. Becky Lynch says, we were all together in this and you cheered me when I was just one of you, but all that changed when I started winning and becoming successful. And it just makes you think how true that is, man. Right? People want relatable these days, not larger than life. Because it makes them feel like they could do that. They just want relatable. They want to see the next 5'7", 5'8" dude in there, maybe a $180, $190, just like Joe Schmo, who's getting up in the morning to go to his 9 to 5. He's trying to brush his hair, brush his teeth, and he's got a long day of work ahead of him. He wants to get home to pop in his ramen noodles and watch his WWE RAW, get up the next day and repeat the process. But he knows that at any time he can do that. I mean, look at Jonathan Gargano. Look at little Tommaso. Look at Finn Balor, as long as I don't eat donuts. Look at JD McDonald's. And I got a smaller head, so my aerodynamics would be better. Maybe I could be better than McDonald's. Look at little Tozawa. Look at him dance. I can do this. I'll keep going to my 9 to 5, but I'll live out my dream one day, man. This is who I want to see. I want to see Sami Zayn. He looks like the guy that I pass on Fifth Avenue. I throw a couple bucks to. Sami Zayn, man, yes. Daniel Bryan, he grew his beard out. He looks a little homely. But you know what? That's the everyday guy. I want to see Daniel Bryan get to the top. I want to see Sami Zayn get to the top. I want everybody to get the championship. Everything is awesome. And you get larger than life, and it's like, I could never be that, man. I don't like that. He's too big. Nah, he's got too much personality and charisma. That's too wild. They want relatable these days because it tells them, hey, I can do that. It makes them feel better about themselves. That's the truth. It's not just pro wrestling. Unfortunately, that leaked into everything. Today's culture, today's society. It's sad. Becky Lynch's words were so damn true. We were all in this together. You were cheering for me on the journey up. When I was just one of you and basically had nothing, but when I got the title, when I collected those W's, when I got success, threw her away like yesterday's garbage. That was it. She's no longer relatable. Man, that was so damn good. And of course, Becky will get trashed for that promo because that's the thing to do, because Becky's not relatable anymore. She got the W's, the titles, the main events, the huge payday. She's getting Charlie Flair money, and the company has put all the rockets on Charlie Flair for over 10 years. Becky's already getting that type of money. So fans moved on. Fans are already moving on. But that was the only a 4-minute promo from Becky Lynch, just because of how damn true those words were. Everything else on this show, what do you want me to say? Gunther came out for Jey Uso. Jey Uso was blown up starting his promo because he yeeted for 25 minutes yet again. When is that going to get old? When it started? Gunther comes out. Gunther is talking about Adam Pearce said that whoever wins between you and Logan Paul at Saturday night's main event, I get the winner on the Monday Night Raw, June 9th. So WWE is telling you they're running in circles right now. Not only do they have nothing, they're just going... They cannot be bothered to spend even a moment of time trying to think this through and give us something that makes sense. Give the talent something that makes sense. So they took the title. They had Gunther beat Jey Uso on the Saturday night's main event before the Rumble. Then they had Jey Uso win the Rumble a week later. What? Then Uso picks Gunther and taps him out in 8 seconds at Mania, after we just saw Gunther beat him on set. But he taps out to his own move in 8 seconds. Then 2 weeks later, a few weeks later, they have Gunther tell Uso it's going to be, because Logan's not winning that. They're not going to set up Logan Paul Gunther. So it's Jey Uso versus Gunther again. So we circle back. Usually if somebody drops the title, it's because you're on to the next program, heel or face. So Gunther would move on to something else. He did for 3 weeks. The commentator, Pat McAfee, was the middleman between all this, just to get him right back to the same position when he lost the title. Him and Jey Uso. I can't fathom how this Gunther Jey Uso thing has been going on for this long with zero substance. Nothing memorable. I think the one thing you could maybe go back to was one Raw when Jimmy Uso was getting destroyed by Gunther. That's it. It's like, and this has been going for months now. And that's the 1 week, the one segment where I was like, maybe that's like something 6 months from now I'll kind of remember. And they're going right back to it. When Uso defeats Paul, you're getting Gunther and Jey Uso again. How is that okay? How can you let Hunter off the hook? How can you say this show is not atrocious at the highest of levels? And I'll do you one better. Logan Paul is your big challenger for the championship in a week or two, right? Week and a half, whatever it is. 24th, 25th, 24th. He's your big challenger. Logan Paul wasn't even on the show last week. After the show went off the air, they had him knock out Jey Uso in the crowd for a viral moment. They were trying to tout that last night. They're like, 12 million views! Oh my goodness, on social media! Cool. Nobody watching the show knows. What? Who cares? You're selling that for the PLE, and you kept him off for a social media moment. So you just care about social media moments and not the show. Well, and then you wonder why your audience is dwindling down. You cut your live events in half, so everyone has to go to the TV events. That's the only show in town now. You cut the opportunities for people to show up, and those live events were already only producing half an arena. So now you're getting that to be the only show in town. Eventually the money is going to run out, just so you know. So I said last year, eventually you're going to start to see less and less crowds, even leading into WrestleMania. What did you see this year? They couldn't consistently sell out their Mania crowds. I told you this. Imagine what it's going to be next year. The money's going to run out, the product is going to get worse and worse, and people are not going to show up even without live events. So you can pigeonhole everybody just into these TV events. And you're wondering why. You kept your dude off the show last week for a viral moment, and then this week they completely had him no viral moment, he wasn't in the crowd, nothing. No Logan Paul. Now you say, well, that's for the best BC. Nobody needs to see him. I hear you. But that's the challenger for Jey Uso. So instead, Jey Uso's out there yeeting for 25 minutes and talking about another match with Gunther after his match with Logan. To start the night, Jason Uso is out there with Sami Zayn and CM Punk chasing away Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. Why is Jey Uso out there? It doesn't even make sense. The odds now are in favor of the faces. How is that? Where in pro wrestling would you see this diabolical heel faction, supposed to be, running away because there's too many faces? Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, CM Punk were chasing away Rollins and Breaker. What? Why? So now it's like, now everyone's like, they need a third man. Who's going to be a third man? Who gives a... Seriously? You're going to act like you're interested? Who's joining? It's ass backwards. You're supposed to be having the advantage go to the heels already, and the faces need to find somebody. Instead, we're talking about who's going to join the heel faction. At this point, I wouldn't want, if I'm a talent, keep me away, because this faction already has imploded. Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and Paul Heyman, absolute, with an exclamation point, has failed. Failed. They look like Paul Heyman isn't even Paul Heyman anymore. Rollins is still having people sing to his song. Braun Breaker is playing like the doofus sidekick. I had high hopes, maybe not high hopes, not with Hunter in charge, but not with Hunter Hearst Helmsley, but I thought maybe because Paul Heyman's attached to it, it could be something. But just like the bloodline being watered down to the point where you can add Jeff Cobb, corn on the cob, doesn't matter who you add, what you add. The bloodline, the bootleg bloodline is done. Just end it, man. It's gone on too long without anything special or of substance. It's WCW basically, man. Went on too long. It's done. Just call it. Unfortunately. I mean, this faction with Rollins and Breakker and Paul Heyman, it's already DOA, man. It's done. What do they do? They're running away from three faces. Why are there three faces? Why was Jey Uso even out there? But they'll get a third guy. Awesome. Who are you going to put in there? Austin Theory? Oh, may want to book him correctly first. Well, that's it, BC. They're going to book him in. And that's how he's going to get it. He's going to get the rub from Sethington Rollins. Rollins is still a damn geek. What does Rollins do? He's still getting sing-alongs. He's supposed to be a heel now for like legit. CM Punk says, I love what CM Punk said, but it didn't make sense because he was saying it to Rollins. He said, all you are is a song, kid. I love that because he says, all you are is a song, kid. At some point, the bell's going to ring. But, I mean, he is, though, just like the yeeting of Jey Uso. When the bell rings, that's right. The gimmick is done at that point. But Rollins can actually go in the ring. So it fell flat after that. He should have just left it at, all you are is a song, kid. I said I wasn't going to do a cold open teaser, but I ended up doing it. I had to just run down this and show you just how nothing would make you tune in next week. That's the whole show, by the way. I just went over it. The whole show. If you want to have a few more, if you want to have another coffee or have the rest of this coffee with BC, I'm going to go over it segment by segment. I'll go as fast as possible, but I have a lot more to say about it segment by segment. That's just me just kind of running through everything on this show just to show my unit how bad this is. I always say, my line that I've said for years is there's not enough coffee. There's not enough coffee to get through these shows. I've said that for years, and I remain adamant in that. There's not enough coffee machines. There's just not enough because this show drains too much out of us. It's draining. These shows are exhausting. It's a chore to get through Monday Night Raw. And I really wanted you guys to see everything or to hear everything that happened on this show so you can see just how bad it truly is. Let's go over it seg by seg, man. I'll do this quick, honestly. Just going over all of it because I had so much to say initially is going to take longer than the review. I assure you. CM Punk starts this show. He says he's pissed off. A pissed off CM Punk is always best for business. Out comes Paul Heyman, Seth Rollins, and Braun Breaker. Punk tells Heyman, you want to waddle down here with purpose? Good. Get into this ring. That was great. Because, it's Paul Heyman. And he was coming with fury walking to the ring. Not Vince McMahon status, but he was waddling. So Punk actually says, you want to waddle down here with purpose? Good. Get into this ring. He then tells Rollins, you're just a song, kid. At some point, the bell is going to ring. And he then tells Breaker, are you going to keep barking or are you going to bite? CM Punk on the stick. Yeah, I mean, that's in a pissed off CM Punk on the mic. Absolutely, man. I mean, if you want to do filler for Raw, give him a mic for 25 minutes. Sami Zayn hits the ring to even up the odds. They all start brawling, and for some reason, Jey Uso also hits the ring. Chases off the heels because now the numbers game is in favor of the faces. What? So now the heels are kind of forced to find another person. Why would that happen? Hunter Hearst Helmsley does not know how to book professional wrestling. That's the sad truth. He's a professional wrestler. I don't know how many times I can say this without people finally until people finally just understand. He had a couple of good years when Vince McMahon was footing the bill for an entire branded promotion. NXT Black and Gold. Didn't have to spend a dime. He had masterminds like Dusty Rhodes and William Regal and others there 24/7 at the Performance Center. And he would fly in on the company jet once a week, play Papa H, approve everything, and get all the credit for Black and Gold. And now you're seeing the actual pro wrestler turned top chief of creative. And you're seeing exactly how good he is. And he's the opposite. That's the truth. People don't want to take the truth. Hey, man, that's on them. But at least we know why this is so bad. At least we're not perplexed. A professional wrestler is running creative and all of content. He's the chief of content. He's the head guy running all of this. Is nothing more than a professional wrestler that clung to Vince McMahon's ass cheeks. And eventually Stephanie McMahon's titties. That's the sad truth. If it was a professional wrestler that was creative, then we could probably talk, right? Then it's a different story. And then to have the audacity to look at your fans and say, if you don't like what I'm producing, if you don't like what you're watching, you're not a real fan. And then he tells his fans to fuck off and to fuck you. But you're not supposed to say anything about Triple H because he's trying to give us good wrestling. He's trying to save wrestling. No, he's bashing fans like he's always done. With his nose up in the air. Because he achieved the highest of high. He played the game correctly. Attached to himself to exactly who he needed to get to where he is. And now he can turn around just like he did when he was a wrestler. And this isn't the first time. He used to do this as a wrestler. Tell the fans to fuck off. But now that he's in the top spot, he can turn around and tell all the fans, you're not even real fans if you don't like any of this. Fuck off. Rachel Zegler, I don't need your business, basically. I tried to tell you from the jump. That's what you were getting. You're surprised now that this dude at the top is telling his own fans to fuck off? You're surprised? That you have an absolute douche at the top? You shouldn't be surprised. You're just listening to the wrong people that are feeding into the same bullshit. No. This is what you have, man. The heels are being chased off because there's too many baby faces. Good wrestling show, man. Said not a damn PC ever. This started out with promise because it's CM Punk on the stick, and then it ended 8 minutes later in the toilet with Vince McMahon's morning shit. Penta versus Chad Gable. This was a rematch. This was a wrestling match. Penta defeats Gable via pinfall, just like the first time. Alrighty then, moving on. Told you this would be a lot faster than just going over the show and just venting all that frustration because nothing happened on the show. Penta faced Gable again. Okay. Got to see some wrestling action. End of hour one, beginning of hour two, the Boar Raiders versus the Creed Brothers, the Sleep Brothers. The crowd was asleep. New Day was on commentary trying to hype us and the crowd. I don't blame the crowd. It's the Boar Raiders versus the Creed Brothers. What do you want the crowd to cheer about? What do you want them to do? They want to be entertained. They want to have meaning, maybe. Maybe some of these crowds want to actually get a good show. And they don't want 15 minutes of Boar Raiders Creed Brothers. The Creeds win. Nobody cares. Moving on. No, really. Nothing happened. The New Day was like yelling at War Raiders, I believe, right? Because they like cost them the match, maybe like a slight distraction. I don't even know. I'm starting to question if the Creed Brothers even won this match. I think they did. Nothing happened. They put everybody to sleep, and then afterwards, people were yelling at one another. I'm going to face you again for those titles. All right, yeah. War Raiders and New Day. We'll see that again. Because they were yelling at each other after this match. And then we got 20 minutes of yeeting with Jason Uso. 20 minutes of yeeting with Jason Uso was next. He literally is picking up babies now and kids. Remember last week I said we already knew this product was geared toward kids, but last week it was more than evident. They planted a kid right in front of him when he was going through the corridor to get into the arena and go down the steps. They planted a kid there to like kind of lead him, but the kid missed his cue. So when we go live, the camera guy is supposed to tell the kid, and the kid moves, and the kid didn't move. So Jay had to tap him like, go. And the kid leads him out, and then they have all the shots of the kids yeeting. That was last week. Now they're telling you this is just for kids because it's easier that way too. Hopefully they'll drag their parents out so we can sell those tickets. And because it's kids with their parents that don't even know what's going on, we don't have to tell any stories. We don't have to spend any energy or actually work on storylines. We don't have to work on characters. We don't have to do a lot of work. Just kids. They'll eat up anything. Kids and adults willing to bullshit themselves. So this week, they took it a step further. They had him go out there and pick up a kid. Picked up a baby or a toddler kid, whatever. I don't even know. Picks up a kid. And they start eating. And I know what I'm supposed to say. Because it's all rainbows and sunshine. So I'm supposed to say, oh, Beasley, it was such a cool moment, man. That kid just had a memory for life. He had a memory for life, Beasley. Yes, he did. Yeah, Beasley, what a moment, man. We can't always be a Grinch, Beasley. He did. That's all. He did. You're right. It was a moment of a lifetime. It was. Made that kid's day. I'm glad that we could all just stop everything to make sure that kid had a moment. I wish we all had a moment of entertainment. I wish we all had a fucking moment of caring. I wish we all didn't have 25 minutes worth of moments of yeeting again and 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 again every single fucking week. But the kids are having their moments from here on out, right? It's going to be like the new Bret Hart, basically. He's going to give the glasses to the kids. I hear you. That's it. There's no debating or going back and forth with these type of people. There's nothing. There's nothing they can do wrong. This is all just good. It's all fuzzy, warm moments. Nothing is... The fact that Jason Uso is your world champion is still something that I cannot completely fathom. I don't know if I'm ever going to. The quicker we just get that title off of him, I think we can start the process to getting back to normalcy. Uso was on the mic, just so you know, next. And Uso is winded because he yeeted and then the music shut off and then the crowd's like, one more time. And he's like... And we just do it's like if you had a favorite show and you watched it every week, but like if it's an hour-long drama, it's like 20 to 30 minutes is stuff that you just saw the week before in the week. They play the same thing every week for about 20 to 30 minutes. I mean, that's what they're having us watch, basically. There's no creativity with Jey Uso. Come out, yeet for 20 minutes. Hunter's on Gorilla under the headset. Like, yeah, just keep yeeting. Show everybody. This will make everybody see that I made the right decision. Keep him yeeting, man. See, look at how over he is. Well, his t-shirt merch sales is already down 12%. They only went up 6 to 9%. That was his peak, and they're already down 12% from that. So, I don't see how you could... So what does that make that even? So he's at 7 or 8%? Just say 9% is his peak. So merchandise already went backwards. Raw's rating has already went backwards from WrestleMania. SmackDown's rating already backwards. If he wants to show up to SmackDown, that's not going to do anything. And they still can't get sellouts to these shows. He's not selling out arenas. Back in the day when you were holding the actual championship, you were the reason you sold out, or you were the reason it didn't. Now, I don't say that, trust me. I wouldn't put all that onto just one person or one champion. But, I mean, you gotta pack the house. I thought everybody wants to yeet. I thought when you put Jey Uso on the billboard because he's main event, that's what... But it's funny, he's not the main event, right? He's main event Jey Uso. Hunter said he's putting the entire rocket on him, but he knew he couldn't put him in the main event of Mania. He wasn't even at Backlash. So Jey Uso is out there with his shiny toy on his shoulder. He's completely blown up on the microphone. He's trying, though. He's yelling. He's amplified. They have to keep it short because Jey Uso will get lost after 2 minutes on the mic. Hunter knows that. Helmsley knows that. So he brings out Gunther. Gunther comes out. And Gunther comes out and he says, Adam Pearce has confirmed the winner of the Uso-Logan match at Saturday night's main event will face him on Raw June 9th. What the Again? What? You're just running in circles. You're literally running in circles. Why would you go back if the dude just tapped out in 8 seconds? You did this thing with Pat McAfee to try to make everybody forget what they just saw about Gunther, which was a horrible attempt at getting people to look at Gunther as a diabolical badass again. Because instead, Pat McAfee just gave him an actual match. And Pat McAfee wouldn't even tap out to his move until 3 minutes later, when Gunther himself tapped out in 8 seconds to a weak-ass version of his move from tag team guy Jason Uso. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Pat McAfee put up a better performance against Gunther than Gunther did against Jey Uso, and that's supposed to make us go, whoa. And then after the match, Gunther gave a nod of mutual respect to Pat McAfee. Gunther is a tweener. Sadly, pathetically. His title reign was irrelevant, sadly, pathetically. The way he lost the title was just depressingly pathetic. Sadly, unfortunately. And watching him last night try to say, I want another match with you. I want to show that I could beat you. You already did, man. You guys have had several matches together. I don't know what we're doing here. We're just going in circles, and I'm supposed to go when the red light goes on and the microphone is lit. I'm supposed to go, this is good, man. Man, Hunter's cooking long-term storytelling, right? Long-term booking, man. He's just having this weird interwebbing thing with Gunther and Jey Uso, and it's so good. No, it's day-to-day, moment-to-moment book. Oh, Helmsley doesn't even know what he's doing. He's like, well, this could be a way to get Goldberg in if we don't have Goldberg show up at Saturday night's main event or Money in the Bank. We can have him show up on the Raw after Money in the Bank, and maybe he'll cost Gunther the matchup. Or Gunther will win the title, and then Goldberg will show up, so it's in a title match. That's why Goldberg's back, to have a title match. So are you going to take the title back off of Jason Uso and give it right back to the dude that he won it from? We wasted all of WrestleMania for that, just to give it back to Gunther? It's fucking pathetic. You guys know that. You don't need BC in this review to tell you that, man. Your eyes saw it last night. Or by now you probably heard some of or all of what went on. And you know you can draw your own conclusion. This shit sucks. Nobody knows what they're doing in that company. Certainly no suit and tie. Certainly nobody with the name Paul Levesque McMahon. That's right, I said McMahon. The apple doesn't fall far from the damn tree. You thought you were going to get so much better with Vince gone. Now you have Hunter Helmsley. It's still bad, just a different type of bad. It's even worse, because now you're just more confused than ever before. Because now nothing literally makes sense. Faces are taking on faces. Heels are taking on heels. The talent doesn't even know what they are or what they're doing. There's no transparency. More and more talent than ever before is speaking up and speaking out. And you have guys being pushed that have no business being in top spots because they're Hunter guys, Hunter Hearst Helmsley guys. The people that should be like LA Knight, they're being brushed to the wayside. So you're still having somebody pick his favorites, but even worse than Vincent Kennedy. And we're running in circles with stories that are just regurgitated. And they weren't even stories in the first place. This show, this product, this company is in shambles. Gunther comes out and tells Uso, it's us again. It's gonna be me. After you beat Logan Paul. Awesome. AJ Styles defeats Finn Balor via phenomenal forearm pinfall. Penta was beating up Carlito and McDonald's on the outside. What did this do other than part 86 of Balor Styles? It was a wrestling match for the sake of wrestling with two good wrestlers. Awesome. Does anybody in this company want to ignite feuds, tell some captivating stories, maybe give a damn? These are questions I have. Becky Lynch promo is next. Honestly, the only good part of the entire show is a good promo. I am whatever you say I am. Greedy, selfish, this, that, and the other. Fine, you want to call me that? I am, and you ain't seen nothing yet. I love that. She says, when I was just one of you, we were all in this together and you cheered. But that all changed when I started winning and became successful. I love that. That's such a good line because it's so true, because it's a microcosm of today's society. People just want relatability. They just want to relate. Relatability. They don't want larger than life. When they come across it, they're in awe. But they want to know, they want reassurance that they can do, or at least that's what they tell themselves. I can do that because he's 5'7" and $182. He looks like Uncle Johnson. He's got the big, right? Sami Zayn looks like my Uncle John. He's got the big beard and he wears his little flannel and his little loafers. I want him to win the world championship, man. He's an everyday guy. Today's wrestling fan, man, they wouldn't know what to do with a Hulk Hogan, an Ultimate Warrior, a Macho Man Randy Savage, a Ric Flair, a Stephen Austin, a Rock. They wouldn't know what to do with them. They wouldn't. They would not know, man. Just wild, right? When you think about just how true those words are, man. You only cheered for me. You liked me when I was relatable. But any form of success, and you just jump off. And and we see that, right? Every time there's a new champion or somebody gets momentum, quickly, everybody already changes to the next, right? All right, we got this person to the mountaintop. Let's move on. What? What? Hold on. You could still support them. Wild, man. Fans don't want larger than life anymore. They just want relatable. Powerful, right? And then Io and Rhea defeat Rok-C and Giulia. Ripley pins Giulia via riptide pinfall. Why? Why book Giulia and Rok-C like this, man? Why? But they got a main event, BC. Oh, who cares? Doesn't matter if you get a main event. Maven had a main event on Raw. Does anybody remember Maven? Maven had a main event on Raw. That was even with Hunter Helmsley, actually. How funny is that? Doesn't matter. Maven was out of a job a few months later, I believe. Done. It doesn't matter if you get a main event. How you're booked means everything, man. Just Giulia taking a riptide and looking up at the lights. Just so Rhea can look at Io and at the title like, I'm going to get that title. And Io's like, what? Why are you looking at my title? Can we get a babyface versus babyface title match, Hunter Helmsley, please? Oh, wait, I don't have to ask for that. That's what we're going to get anyway. Why have any suspense? Babyface versus babyface. Rhea versus Io. Who needs a heel? We don't have those anyway. We even have Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins, a new diabolical heel faction, running away from the faces because there's too many faces. They need a third guy now. Is that supposed to get BC excited? BC, who could it be? Let's play a game for 20 minutes of who could be the third guy in the Seth Rollins Braun Breaker faction. If I'm on the run, I'm getting as far away from that faction as imaginable. I want nothing to do with that faction. It's already done. I don't even know what it is. CM Punk's in the middle of the ring. That's your babyface. Seth Rollins comes out. Everyone's singing. Yeah. Just get a new song then. But no, Rollins knows if he gets the new song, then it's really done. You guys have to remember, Rollins is a very good wrestler. I want the best for the dude. And he does put so much into so much of what he does. But he was in rough shape before he got that sing-along song. You guys remember that? Nobody was caring about anything he was doing. He was in a rut. Booking, creative had totally failed him. And he just couldn't find it. He got the song, and it catapulted him. The sing-along. That was it. I remember, guys, I was doing all the reviews. Nobody was feeling anything when Rollins came through that curtain. Gets the song, boom. But it doesn't fit. You can't have it with Braun Breaker. You can't. Nobody can take you seriously if everybody's like singing and you're dragging the parents, you're dragging casuals to the arena, and they think that's supposed to be the heel, but we're all having a great time. He's a face. But we're the only ones talking about it. Nobody, it's a microwave society, man. Everybody is just supposed to smile and love everything and everyone. But you see, I know but it doesn't matter, man. Let's just watch the shows and enjoy wrestling. I don't want to enjoy wrestling. I want to be captivated by it. If I wanted to enjoy wrestling, I just go back and just watch all of anything from the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. Even to, Ruthless Aggression even. After Ruthless Aggression, man, did it start to go downhill. I never thought it would reach where it is now, though. That's what I got for you guys, man. Raw, 5/12/25. This one was so bad, man, because this was one of those shows where they're blatantly telling you we didn't put any effort into this. And they announced a bunch of matches already for next week. I don't even have them in front. Guys, I'll have that in the next upload. They already announced like 5 matches for next week. That is telling you they're already planning for a filler Raw. Just put a bunch of matches out. Hope some of them stick and the crowd will yell, "This is awesome." And we can go off the air and just get closer to our next big money grab, which is SummerSlam. That's what's happening. They announced a bunch of random matches just like they did for this show. This way, they can put no spontaneity, no creativity into this. Just have the wrestlers go out there and wrestle, and that's your show for 2.5 to 3 hours. Awesome, said nobody, ever. BC in the unit, that's a 44 dive wrap. Until next time, and there will be that next time. Unit! Salute!